Dumelang ra le amogela lenanong le leng la Talk SA ka jeko re bua ka sitiso ya dithuto dikolong le kotsi ya teng re tla ho lona re le sebakeng sa Klipspruit West Secondary School hone mo Soweto sekolong se le gore se lwanela kopano gape le kutlwano empa seo ha se etsagale di kgweding tse fitileng re bile le principal o kgethilweng hone mo sekolong se baithuti batswadi le ba bang ba setšhaba ha ba utlwisisi ka tsela e principal a kgethilweng ka teng ka jeko ke na le mme Jackie Mtombening o le gore ke motswadi hone mo sekolong se hape ke general secretary ya Patriots for Equality o tlo re bolela hantle gore go etsagala eng mo Klipspruit West. Jackie, welcome to Talk SA.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for having me.
So Jackie, tell me what exactly is happening with Klipspruit West Secondary School?
Basically, what happens here is that this school has been ungovernable for the past 8 years. Firstly, our children are not getting proper education. Secondly, our government doesn't care about our children because the situation at the school is very bad.
Now, the principal that has recently been elected within the school, what's the situation right now?
The problem with the principal that was elected, and unfortunately she was appointed on the 1st of July, the paperwork was flawed, and that is the reason why we stopped the process. It had nothing to do with the color or the race.
Jackie, I want us to continue this conversation in our mobile studio with the rest of the community from Klipspruit West, where we want to find out what exactly is going on and what affects these students the most, because such issues don't only affect the students of Klipspruit West Secondary School, impa the students in Africa Borwa tsotlhe. A re yeng mobile studio. Go setisa gwa dikolo ke ntho eleng gore etsagala ka mehla le mehla mo dikolong mo Africa Borwa empa ka jeko re mo Klipspruit West re tlo utlwa gantle gore mathata a sekolo se e ka ba gore ke eng ke na le bomme ba leng gore ba tlo re bolela gore go etsagala eng mo sekolong se. Ladies, welcome to Talk SA. Ke na le mme Jackie Mtombening, who is the General Secretary for the Patriots of Equality. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I've also got Charis Pretorius, who is the spokesperson for Greater Eldorado Park Business Forum. Welcome to Talk SA.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Charis, I want to start with you. What exactly is the problem at Klipspruit West High School?
Fundamentally, what went horribly wrong was the process when it came to the appointment of the principal.
Okay.
The SGB had not been given the proper empowerment when it came to selection process and also the necessary training. And then, of course, when the community went into questioning that specific process, there was a cry from the community for the Greater Eldorado Park Business Forum to step in and basically just address the issue of how the principal was appointed.
Do we know why the SGB appointed this principal in that specific way?
You know, it's actually it's a bit dodgy when it comes to the appointment of the principal, all right? The Department of Education was well aware of the fact that there were certain issues that the school had experienced over a couple of years, and it wasn't something that had just culminated from the appointment. It was a dissatisfied community that was dealing with a department that was doing nothing, not listening to their cries for assistance.
The issues that were raised by the community. Now, Jackie, you are not just a community member, you're also a parent
Correct.
of a child that is at the school. So these issues touch you very deeply.
Yes.
What are some of the issues that your children are facing at these schools?
Well, basically what happened is my child is a grade 10 learner.
Okay.
And it has been, for the last 8 years, there was no proper learning and no proper teaching. If I have to say that some of the teachers were abusing the kids. Some of them used to slap the kids. There was a teacher, who actually broke one of the arms of a child.
Was any of this ever reported?
Yes, it was. Unfortunately, it was just something of the district. If I have to mention it, to say that they were very reluctant because some of these issues were on black and white paper that we actually could see that there was nothing done according to all these paperwork that has been handed over to them. Unfortunately, I think it's due to the fact that there was a great lack of the system. The whole system of the government is actually corrupt. Let's speak about the government itself. Because when we ask them to rectify the situation at the school, daar is so baie corruption op die school, dit is horrific. Die probleme wat ons sit mee daar is dat die system van die school is uitmekaar uit, die management team is uitmekaar uit. Daar was nie 'n principal nie. Ons het 'n principal gehad wat ons kan sê dit was mevrou Hendriks. Mevrou Hendriks was daar, maar sy het geen help gekry nie van die government se kant af self.
From the district?
From the district itself. So there were people that they actually cried out, but unfortunately they were not helped.
Yeah. Charis, why do you think residents feel this way?
Well, it boils down to being sidelined. I think that is what it comes down to. Over the last 24 years, when it comes to a democracy in South Africa, we have been sidelined to the extent where we no longer understand what it is that we require as a community. We no longer demand what it is that is rightly due to us. So people become almost placated by the empty promises and the false platitudes that government constantly feeds us with. So when the people eventually get to a point where they say this far and no further, then it's a situation of, okay, fine, how do we fix it quickly? But the unfortunate thing is it is not a quick fix.
It is not.
It is something that has been drawn out over 24 years. And right now, because elections unfortunately are coming up in 2019, we now have to say, okay, fine, how do we recapture these communities that we have lost due to our inadequacy?
ntho e tlisang botlhoko ke gore sekolo se ka 2016 ne se thotse matric pass rate ya 77%, empa ka dintwa tse etsagalang gona je ha re itse gore this year go tlo etsagala jwang mo sone le tse ding dikolo tsa mo South Africa that are experiencing the same things. Ha re tswa papatsong tla ba re bua more about re tlo lokisa jwang dikolo tsa rona gone mo Africa Borwa ra boa. Re phetere go amogela gape mmuhi ka je ke re bua ka go sitisa ga dithuto ko dikolong ke na le bontate ba leng gore ba tlo re thusa ka yona kgang ena. Ke na le ntate Ansley Brown, who's the executive member of the Greater Eldorado Park Business Forum. Welcome.
Good afternoon, thank you.
And we've also got Anthony Philip Williams, who is the president of the Patriots for Equality. Welcome to you too.
Goedemiddag.
Now, Anthony, I want to start with you. How is this really impacting the learners in the schools?
Ek dink die leerlinge het dit baie moeilik gehad. Maar die waarheid is dat die moeilikheid wat die leerlinge gehad het, is nie iets wat hierdie jaar begin het nie. Alhoewel jy het vroeër in die gesê dat verlede jaar het ons 77% jy weet gehad matriek slaagsyfer wat 'n mooi slaagsyfer was, en jy het ook aangehaal dat ons weet nie hoe dit hierdie jaar gaan lyk nie. So omdat daar soveel ontwrigtinge hierdie jaar wel plaasgevind het. Hierdie is 'n storie wat meer as 10 jaar, jy weet, wat die skool, jy weet, in wanorde gedompel was. Baie moeilike plek vir enige leerling om behoorlik geleer te word. En dit is in die hart van hoekom Patriots for Equality, jy weet, opgestaan het. Uit verskillende organisasies het ons bygekom en het ons een organisasie begin met die naam van Patriots for Equality om gelykheid, jy weet, vir ons mense te bring.
But why did it take so long though, Anthony, if it's over 10 years that students have been suffering the way that they've been suffering, only for us to stand up now? And I'm sure the school, the parents, the community have been standing up. It's only now that because there's violence and we're being more harder in how we stand up, is the rest of the world seeing what we are saying. But why only now?
Absoluut. Ek dink die kwessie was, die mense het in die verlede, het die mense gestry en geveg en gesê, jy weet, dat hulle word ondermyn, hulle word onderdruk en daar word nie na hulle geluister nie. Maar ek dink hierdie keer het die gemeenskap genoeg gehad.
Okay.
Jy weet, en ek dink die leierskap het ook 'n groot bydrae. Die feit dat die leierskap besluit het ons gaan staan en ons gaan nie beweeg nie. En omdat ons daai besluit geneem het as 'n kollektief, jy weet, dit is nie een persoon nie, as 'n kollektief het ons daai besluit geneem. En omdat ons daai besluit geneem het as 'n kollektief en vasgestaan het, dis hoekom baie dinge baie vinniger begin gebeur het.
Ansley, I want to come to you and I really want to get into the crux of the issue because everywhere where we've seen the story in the media, race has been the card that has been played. What is the true agenda behind this?
It depends on who you referring to as having an agenda. The people, not only of Eldorado Park, Klipspruit West, Noordgesig, you name it, you name any coloured community, has for years been the silent bystanders. Never the ones to make a noise, never the ones to actually go into toy mode, as we call it. This time around, however, the issue started with protests in places like Davidsonville. The minute there was a protest from the people of Davidsonville, who also are a completely cosmopolitan mixed group of people, the Department of Education stepped in. The first volley that was shot was race.
So the department is not here to answer for themselves, but
Yes.
what we are saying is they moved the goalposts.
They've been moving it since the day people started talking to them. And they seem to be giving the impression that this is something which has been sprung on them in the past few months. It's not so. As I say, it's been years that the colored communities have been sitting,
And
making
sidelined.
silent protest. Now that there is violent protest, which seems to be the norm required
in order to be heard.
in order to be acknowledged, not even heard, just acknowledged. Like Mr. Williams was saying, the fact that we had 2 ministers in the space of 1 week, almost in our community every day.
So, Ansley, what we are saying here is that the issue is not necessarily only about the education that
No,
happens within this
not at
community.
all.
There's a broader sense
Absolutely.
of other things that are happening, that are brewing, and because within the education, that's where we are able now to start pulling and making our hand and our voices heard.
That's what it is. We know we've been trying for many years to get the issues that affect the communities on the table and addressed. And as has been said by previous guests, it's every time shoved out of the way. It's being put under the carpet. We've been given the soft stories. We'll get back to you. We'll get back to you. Every time it becomes a we'll get back to you, within a month or a year, that administration changes.
What I want, gentlemen, is now to start getting the word from the community itself, because we keep referring to this community, but we don't know exactly how do they feel. All right, our first question is from the lady. What's your question or comment?
Goeiemiddag. My naam is Bianca Weeks. Ek is van Klipspruit West. Ek het 8 jaar gelede gematrikuleer by dieselfde skool. Een vraag wat ek het is, hoe lang gaan ons wag vir die outcome?
Anthony, I'm going to pose that one to you. It seems there's a very frustrated community here. An ex-learner who's clearly been going through all of these things for all these years and still there aren't any solutions. What's the solution?
Ek dink Bianca het 'n belangrike vraag gevra. Wat is die oplossing? Wanneer gaan die oplossing kom? Die nasionale minister van onderwys het vir die Gautengse regering 'n brief geskryf waar sy gesê het sy gaan 'n afgetrede regter kry om ondersoek in te stel. Ek dink die feit dat sy dit genoem het en dat sy 'n afgetrede regter gaan kry om die saak te ondersoek, beteken dat die saak ernstig is, jy weet. En so deels van die oplossing het te doen met 'n behoorlike ondersoek. As ons die saak wil by sy wortels kry en uit die grond het ruk sodat dit nie weer herhaal word nie, dan moet ons vir die regter wag, die afgetrede regter wag om 'n behoorlike ondersoek in te stel, want andersins as ons dit nie doen nie, dan is daar nie 'n behoorlike oplossing nie, want gaan hierdie probleem gaan weer in die toekoms gaan weer homself voordoen.
Alright, Abuti, potso ya gago ke eng?
Oh, ke a leboha ausi for meetlo le mfang ona. Nna potsa ke batlang go e botsa ko paneleng ya rona. Ko hore it's more than 24 years into democracy. Ba ntse ba le teng le community ya ko Klipspruit ntse le teng. Ba na le di-councillor, ba na le di-PR councillor, ba na le mayor wa Moko Joburg. Se ke tjho hore na local government from bona ko area ya bona, from site la bona, ke eng e ba se entseng before government ka intervene, se ke bua ka provincial le ka national.
Ke a leboga, Papa. So the gentleman really poses a very important question, that at local government level, what is being done? Yes, we are looking at how province and at national, what impact do they have to this community? But what are we doing with our councillors that are supposed to be assisting in making sure that education is on point in Klipspruit West as well as other services?
True, that the question itself is actually very pertinent to the situation that we are finding ourselves in that the councillor for the specific area of Klipspruit West, if you look at the demographics and where the demarcation of Klipspruit has been placed, Klipspruit itself has become like a very small pebble in a large pond.
Because it's not Soweto
It's been made part of the Soweto district or the ward itself. As a result of that, you've got this small little community, an enclave to be exact, surrounded by this huge landfill of people. And that in itself makes this small community so insignificant in that whatever happens within the broader ward does not really filter down to that specific small community.
Ke le ga o sibso ya kana thaba mokoka question ke batla tswa ho etsa etseng ka ma teacher I5 a le ngore ba itse ba sa khutla ba kena sekolong ka hore ba ile ba pisa bana so jwale ka batswadi ba itse ba tla strike if ba teacher a tlogela sekolong re ba kotsa ba entseng go fitlela hana jwale ka ma teacher ao
Ke a leboga papa o botsa potso e ntle gagolo. The 5 educators that were dismissed at the school because of the alleged abuse that they inflicted upon students and upon both colored and black students, and these educators were both colored and black. So it's not a racial issue here, it's about the culture and the things that are happening at the school. Where are they today?
Die onderwysers is terug by die skool.
Still?
Ja, ons het hulle toegelaat. Dit was met 'n so baie moeilike onderhandeling geweest tussen die departement en die gemeenskap en die ouers om hulle toe te laat want die vraag was hoe laat ons die onderwysers buite en ons wil op dieselfde tyd wil ons ook effektiewe onderwys laat geskied. So dit was in so onder ons is daar 'n vat and gee, so met give and take.
Gentlemen, I want us to hold it right there, and after this break I want us to come back with solutions, because we've identified all the problems that are happening in this area, and I'm sure many other areas within South Africa can identify with these problems that we've discussed today. Ha re tswa papatsong, Dr. Leonard Martin o tla ba a re joina o leng gore ke moemedi wa batho ba mmala o leng gore ba bua ka gore go tsagalang mo South Africa ile gore re ka ya jwang ko pele re tla le bona ha re bo. Amogela hape muhi hu SABC to Talk SA mo eleng gore ntse re bua le yona community ya Klipspruit West. Their concerns ke gore bana ba bone ha ba kene hantle dikolo le gore government e ka re ha e ba thuse. Ke na le yena yanong ntate o leng gore he's the spokesperson ya the Gauteng Education Department, who's going to tell us their side of the story and what responsibilities the department has towards this school and many others in this province. Ntate Steve Mabona ra go amogela hu Talk SA. So likopane libuile, but it seems as if gona le an underlying issue e re sa fitlheng ko yone. What exactly is it tshwantseng gore yetsiwe gore skolo se se tswele pele, because it seems as though bana ba ileng gore ke bone ba kenang mo skolong se, they're the ones that are impacted the most.
Re le fapa re shumile le bona batho ba Klipspruit West ga botse re ile mola letšatši la mathomo ge go hlaga dilo tše gopola gore ba ile ba re bona ba nyake principala ra re e le sa nyake principala le sa kgoreletša bana go ya sekolong le sa thibela bana go ya sekolong ba tlogeleng bana ba tsene sekolo lena re tla bolela le lena ba re go na le gore bana ba bona ba tlhorišiwa ba bethiwa ba bang ba bitšwa ka mabitšo le bona matitšhere ba re no le rena bana ba re bitša ka mabitšo ka moka ra re no e ke kgolo a re iše go Human Rights Commission. Human Rights Commission ya tla le yona ra ya le go bona ra kopana le bona ba re no e re nyakišiše le bona ba sa tšwela pele ba nyakiša tabeo ba re biditše Human Rights Commission ra ya ra fa bohlatsi MEC o ile mo a bolela gore tabe ya Klipspruit West e thomile kae ya kae jwalo.
Steve, we can see how the department is really doing what they need to do. Babuile le Basic Education Commission ya Human Rights Leona is on this issue. All we have to do now ko re kopane and ensure gore bana ba ba kena sekolo gore ba tla kgona tswela pele ka maphelo a bona. A re gotlhele go studiong sa rona rutle gore community e re di resolutions sa kgang e ke eng. Ke batla bulela jwanong for back to our community re utlwe gore ke eng se le ithutileng sone le gore di solutions tse re ka bang le tsone gore re tswele pele e ka ba eng after topic ya rona ya kajeko. So we've got a comment from you, Sharis, there. What's your solution?
The thing for me right now, Katlego, is the one, most importantly, government needs to stick to the resolution that was signed in August. Bottom line. They need to admit that what they did in Klipspruit West was a fallacy, that they had not addressed the issue, and that they were basically covering up their inadequacy at performing the task at hand.
Thank you, Sharis. We've got another comment from Auntie Rita.
En my solution is hoekom het ons so ver gegaan het om te gehoor gewees het. So vir my was dit regtig onnodig. As stappe net kon gevat gewees het by die skool van management, dan was ons nie hier nie. Maar ek hoop dat Sieti, Mrs. Sieti, the Director of Education, en Panyaza Lusufi, MAC, ek hoop die SGB wat hulle gaan kies vir volgende jaar, hulle gaan hand in hand met die mense werk en die mense leer, want hulle het ons as die SGB van hierdie jaar afgeskeep sonder om hulle opleiding te gegee het. So my verlange is die nuwe SGB wat opkom, hulle moet hulle leer en dat hulle kan verstaan wat is hulle rol en hulle functions. As al wat ek kan sê. Dankie.
Thank you so much, Auntie Rita. And Auntie Rita raises a very important point there.
I'm Jason. My name is Jason. As a black student, I was concerned with this Klipspruit issue, but then it came to light that it's a racial thing. I thought it was a racial thing, but today I learned that it's a racial thing. There was also a white teachers involved and the black also. So I must say I'm relieved. Thank you very much.
And I'm happy for utlile conclusioning eo because many of us thought that it was a racial thing, and the race was put forward so much that the actual issues were then pushed aside. So I'm glad that you came to that conclusion.
Thank you very much.
So now we come to solutions. What does this community need to do in order to ensure that we move forward and we prioritize the education of these children? Because that's the most important part. We are fighting our battles, but at the end of the day, it's these children of the school that are going to suffer. I'm going to start with you, Anthony.
Well, what we need to do is we need to all go back to the drawing board, and then we need to have an honest discussion with ourselves and say, how do we take South Africa forward? How do we take Klipspruit West in every school in South Africa forward?
Thank you, Anthony. Jackie?
What I would like to say, I just want to do a rephrase on that. This had nothing to do with race. We just want to let it come down again to the people. Secondly, what we would like to do is, there was a very good statement made here to say that we need to stick to this resolution because there were points made and we came to an agreement, so we want them to deliver. And we need the government to get active in the communities and listen to the people's cries, and then we wouldn't have chaos like the one that we had.
Thank you. And lastly?
I concur with the previous two speakers that yes, we are not racist. This was never a racist issue, and as such, it should be completely condemned. SADTU needs to get on board and start doing the work for which they have been appointed, and that is to educate our students and bring our communities up to on par. And then we need to go back to government and tell government, it's time for you to deliver.
Thank you to my panel, and thank you to everybody who participated in today's discussion. I'm sure we found solutions that will help us and propel us in order to move forward, because the issue of children's right to education is a very important one that we need to pay attention to, because as a society, ha re le batho tshwantse re nagana hore ntho tse re di etsang kajeno ke tsone tse bontshang bokamoso ba rona kaosane. Re thole ko Facebook, re talk SA, re romele email ka re tla be re tla ho lona re tlo utlwa gore ditaba tse leng gore di etsagala mo setšhabeng sa hao ke eng. Email address ya rona ke talksa@sabc.co.za. Until next time, ra leboga muhi, ra tla go bona ne teng.
Thank you.
Thank you.